Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Yevamos Daf Samach Aleph. We are on the very last line of Samach Amud Beis. Tanya v'chein, Haya Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer. Another halacha in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. Kivrei oivdei kechavim einon mitamen ba'oil. You should know that a caver of a non-Jew will not transmit tumah by way of oil. Rashi says, Ein mitamen es hama'ayil aleim. If one hovers over a caver of a non-Jew, he does not contract tumah. So maga, masa, yes, touching, carrying a oivdei kechavim mace transmits tumah, but not merely through hovering through oil. How do we know this? Shenemar, the pasuk says, "Va'aten tzoini tzoin marisai." Adam atem. The pasuk describes Klal Yisrael. Va'aten, you are my flock. You are Adam. Now the pasuk in Parashas Chukas, which discusses tumas oil by a mace, it says Adam ki yamas ba'oil. Only an Adam, only one who has this title Adam can transmit tumah by way of oil, by way of being under the same roof as you, or you're hovering over the mace, all types of variations of oil. Only an Adam does that. And this pasuk indicates that only Klal Yisrael is deserving of the title Adam. Atem, it says Adam Atem. Atem Kriyan Adam, you are considered Adam, and therefore you are metame ba'oil. Ve'ein ha'idei kechavim kriyan Adam, as opposed to the Goyim. The title Adam does not apply to them. Now there's a famous story, I think it was Rabbi Yehuda Kessler, who was summoned to the king, accused him of degrading the Goyim. Look, take a look at your Talmud, Gemara, Yevamos, Daf Samach Aleph. Oidei kechavim are not called Adam. We're not human beings. How can you say that? That's absolutely insulting and degrading. Rabbi Yehuda, in his utmost cleverness, responded like this. I'll tell you what the Gemara means. It's not as simple as it sounds. Adam means one unit. Look, a person, although he's comprised of so many parts and so many limbs, bottom line is, it's all part of the same person. Look, if one hurts his finger, everything hurts. When he has an ailment in his stomach, his head feels it too. That is Klal Yisrael. That's unique to us. Nothing bad about the non-Jews, but there's something unique about the community, the kahal of Klal Yisrael. We consider ourselves to be one unit. We feel each other's happiness and pain. V'ahavta l'reacha kamoicha is unique to us. Atem kriyim Adam. We're considered one Adam. Klal Yisrael constitutes one unit, one entity, one Adam. And that is unique about us. Something which is unfound anywhere else in the world. General world population, all the nations don't have this unique quality of unity, of achdus, of feeling as one. That's all the Gemara means. Atem kriyim Adam. Ve'eino oivdei kechavim kriyan Adam. And he got off the hook. Says the Gemara, how can you say that a non-Jew is not considered Adam? Meisive, we have a kasha from our Brisa. The pasuk by the Milchemes Midyan. It says, V'nefesh Adam Shisha Asar Aleph. They had 16,000 humans, people. You see, an Adam is used to describe a guy. Mishum Behema. Over there, it's in contrast to Behema. Since we mentioned Behema, so how do we contrast Adam to Behema? By giving them the title Adam. But just the word Adam on its own would not be used in this context, only to describe Yisrael. It's interesting because the Kuzri actually writes that there are, generally speaking, 4 categories of creation. There's inanimate, right? The doimim, tzomeach, chai, living being, and Adam and medaber, Adam. So you have the inanimate, you have the plants, you have the animals, and you have the medaber, person, human being who has the ability to speak. Says the Kuzri, there's a fifth layer on top of that. Yisrael. Yisrael is the fifth category on top of the pyramid. It fits very well with this Gemara. And Ovid Kechavim is somewhere in between the medaber and the Yisrael. So, sure, relative to the Yisrael, he's not Adam, but relative to the Behema, he is. It's right in the middle. So it's Mishum Behema, on account of Behema, relative to Behema, we call him Adam. What about the pasuk by Nineveh? Asher yesh bo harbi mishtei masrei ribay Adam asher lo yada ben yimina l'smoili. Here again, the pasuk is describing the Ovid Kechavim in Nineveh as Adam. Once again, Mishum Behema, because we're speaking of Behema, so relative to Behema, we call them Adam. What about Kol Hireg Nefesh? V'chol Nogea B'cholot Ischato? Here's a kasha, because by Midian, when they finished the warfare with Midian, who were Goyim, it says they have to observe all the halachas of Tumah, Tumah's Shiva, 7 days of Tumah. What do you mean? They were just Goyim. Answers the Gemara, Dilma Iktel Chad Mi Yisrael. Maybe one of the Jews passed away as a result of that war, and therefore he generates Tumah. V'Rabbanan, they respond by saying, no, you can't say that. Lo nifkad mimenu ish. Pasuk clearly indicates that there was nobody missing, no casualties on the side of Bnei Yisrael. Rab Shimon ben Yochai, he says no. Perhaps there were casualties, even on the Yisrael side, and that's what generated Tumah. Lo nifkad mimenu ish just means la'aver. There was nobody that fell off. Nobody missing. Nobody dropped away from the community la'avera to engage in wrongdoing. But as far as casualties, perhaps there were. So that's the answer to that question. Ravina Amar, he says, look, very simply speaking, there is tumah by Goyim, but not tumah's oil, and that's what the pasuk is speaking about. Of course, the pasuk, as we mentioned, excludes the Ovid Kechavim from tumah's oil. Why? Adam ki Yevamos b'oil. This Adam requirement is specific to tumah's oil. But that pasuk by Midian is speaking about other forms of tumah, through contact, through carrying mimaga, whether through contact or mimasa, through carrying mimatinu kra. Since when were they excluded in terms of those types of tumahs? Of course not. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is speaking about tumah's oil, because the pasuk Adam ki Yevamos b'oil is speaking about Adam of Yisrael. But other forms of tumah, of course, even though Ovid Kechavim is matame, and that's what we're speaking about by Midian. Continues the Mishnah. So we know that a Kohen Gadol must marry a Besula. Can't marry an Almana, which a Kohen Hedyot can. He has to keep away from an Agrusha and a Chalutza. So let's say the following happens. Ires is Almana. He's a Kohen Hedyot, ordinary Kohen, engages an Almana. V'nisman Aliyah Kohen Gadol, and then Mazel Tov, suddenly he's appointed as Kohen Gadol, who may not marry an Almana. He's stuck. He's engaged, but not yet married. He's now a Kohen Gadol, who shouldn't marry an Almana. Yichnes, he can marry. Once he got engaged to her, in a permissible state, he just continues. In fact, there was a story to prove this. Umaasa b'Yeshua ben Gamla. Shekidesh Marta bas Baisus. Yeshua ben Gamla was Mekadesh Marta. She was a famous widow, a wealthy widow. Umino HaMelech liyes Kohen Gadol. And suddenly the king appointed him Kohen Gadol, who may not marry an Almana. What did he do? V'kinsa. He proceeded and married her. So this proves this point. However, Shemeres Yavam Shenafel of Nikoyin Hedyot. We have a similar case. A Shemeres Yavam. She's a Yevama, who is obviously an Almana, right? Due to her husband's passing. She presents to a Kohen Hedyot, brother of her husband. That's legal. He can marry her. And then suddenly he turns into a Kohen Gadol. V'nisman Aliyah's Kohen Gadol, which is typically done through his fellow Kohanim, who elect him together with the king. Suddenly he's a Kohen Gadol. What's to be done here? Here we don't allow it. Here's a chiddush. Even though This Kohen Hedid may have even been Mekadosh the Yevam. He did that Mamar. Hareza lo yichnes, he can't go on and marry her. It's very different. She's not really his acquisition. It's his brother, his widow, and therefore in this case, even though he did that Mamar, we don't treat it as though the relationship has already been initiated to the point that he can just complete it. Tanu Rabbana minayin. How do we know this? Shim Ira says Almana v'Nismana Lias Kohen Gadol sheyichnes, that if a Kohen Hedid engages in Almana and then turns into a Kohen Gadol, that he may continue and marry her. Tamar loima yikach isha. Pasuk says that a Kohen Gadol must marry a besula. Ki im besula me'ama vikach isha. The word isha is an extra word to allow this case. If that's the case, apply it to the shemeros yavam as well. She fell to him as a Yevama when he was a Kohen Hedid, and then he turns into a Kohen Gadol. Maybe he can do Yivam. Isha. It says Isha. Isha is a regular wife. His own wife. His own Kala. V'lo Yevama, as opposed to Yevama who came by way of his brother. We don't apply it in that case. And this halach is supported with the story of the Maaseh Yeshua ben Gamla, who engages Marta bas Baisus, and then turns into a Kohen Gadol. The Mishnah says, how did that happen? How was he appointed? Was he elected by popular vote by the other Kehanim who appointed him, or was it just some sort of a prearranged agreement with through the king, who was paid off? Mishnah uses the word uminuhu, uminehu, Kohen HaMelech. The Melech appointed him. It was a personal appointment. It wasn't by way of popular consent. It was a personal appointment by the king. He was paid off to appoint him. Nisman aloi. It wasn't something that was put through the standard process. It wasn't through a formal procedure. It was something on the side, under the table deal with the king. Amar Rabbi Yosef Katir. Katir is a lashon of kesher. It's a term used to describe a scheme. Katir kachazina hacha. That's what I see over here. It was a scheme. It was prearranged. It was a backdoor deal between Marta bas Baisus, his kalo, this wealthy widow, of course wanted her future husband as Kohen Gadol. She paid off the king. Damar v'aseh tarkava de dinri. Tarkava means trade, two and kav, 2 and 1. 3 sums, 3 kab, 3 amounts of dinarim, of coins. Ahilo le Marta bas Baisus. Marta paid off. Le Yanai Malka, to the king Yanai. Adamuke le Yeshua ben Gamla. To have Yeshua ben Gamla appointed Bekane Rari as a Kohen Gadol. It's interesting that, firstly, Tosfos over here points out that this Yanai HaMelech, who was not the famous Yanai in Kedushin over there because he was a haughty fellow and he wanted to be Kohen Gadol, and he would never have allowed anybody else to take that position. So it appears that we're speaking about 2 different Yanai HaMelechs. Now there's another question regarding the identity of this person, Yeshua ben Gamla. You see, we have another reference to Yeshua ben Gamla in Bava Basra, who was actually praised and held in very high regard. In fact, the Gemara says, because of him, Zachar Yeshua ben Gamla Latoiv, if not for him, Torah would have been forgotten from Klal Yisrael. He was the one who, by the way, initiated the whole concept of yeshivas. Until that point, the father would teach his son. That's where it went. He says, look, not every father can teach his son. Not always does it work out. He instituted yeshivas. He introduced the concept of having a Rebbe teach Talmidim who are not his sons. That's when it began. The first yeshiva, way back in Yeshua ben Gamla's time. In any case, he seems to have been a righteous fellow, and here we see that he was slipped in through the back door and appointed Kohen Gadol, even though he wasn't really deserving of it. Rashi says, he wasn't really deserving of that position. They paid him, they put off the king to appoint him. So is this the same Yeshua ben Gamla or not? So some learned that it was 2 different people. That's how they taste Yeshanim over here. He says, Ein ze Yeshua ben Gamla, that person, she'oiset tzaddik hoya. That other person was a tzaddik. Rather, this person here was a acher, who was a different person with the same name. But if I remember correctly, the taste Yeshanim in Yuma actually asked the same question. He says, no, he says, look, there's nothing wrong with him. He was right to be Kohen Gadol, but there were others perhaps better than him and more deserving than him, and fine, his wife paid off the king to have him appointed, but wasn't inherently something wrong with him. He was a great man, he was a tzaddik. But this position was actually purchased, was bought off through his wife and Yanai HaMelech. Interesting historical account here. Zok the Gemara weiter. Kohen Gadol shemes Achiv. Kohen Gadol shemes Achiv. So you have a Kohen who passes away, and his brother, the potential Yavam, is a Kohen Gadol. We just learned that a Kohen Gadol cannot do Yibam. Why? Because she's an Almana. The only option is Chalitza, but not Yibam. Asks the Gemara, what's the problem? Kapasek V'tani, the Mishnah just states the halacha flat out. No difference. Lo yishnom min ha'erisin, irrespective of whether this Almana, this Yevama, is presenting from Erisin. She was only engaged to that brother, in which case she's still a Besula. She's an Almana. He can't marry her, an Almana, it's a Leisase, but she's still a Besula, so he's going to be Makai Mitzvah to say of marrying a Besula. So it's either that case, V'lo yishnom min ha'nesuin, or a Yevama, who has been married to this brother, in which case she's no longer a Besula as well. In both cases, Kohen Gadol cannot do Yibam. Why? Bishlam min ha'nesuin. Understand, from Nesuin, she's A, an Almana, B, a non-Besula. He would be transgressing a Naseh by not marrying a Besula, and a Leisaseh by marrying an Almana, and of course that's not allowed. Aseh v'Leisaseh, right? If you ain't Aseh, you can't have the Aseh of Yibam override both. Ain't Aseh doiche Leisaseh v'Aseh. So of course it's not an option. Eliminate Erisin, but what's wrong with doing Yibam to Yevamos coming off just having been engaged? True, she's an Almana, but she's still a Besula. Yove Yaseh, let the Yaseh of Yibam come and override. V'yitche es Leisaseh, push away the love of the Almana. Answers the Gemara, it's Medirabban. Gzeira bia rishoyna, true, the first interaction is fine. That's a fulfillment of mitzvahs Yibam. But that might lead to another interaction, Oto bia shnia, for which there's no excuse and no justification. So on account of that concern, we don't allow Yibam. Says the Mishnah, Kohen Hedyoit lo yisa ailenes. An ordinary Kohen should not marry an Isha who is physically unable to have children. Elim Kohen geish lo Isha abonim, unless he has a wife and children, meaning he was already in full fulfillment of mitzvahs period of Erivya. Now, why is this specific to a Kohen? We're going to see in the Gemara. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Afa bi sheyesh lo Isha abonim lo yisa ailenes. Here's a chiddush. Any Kohen may not get involved with an islandess. An Isha who's was organ deficient, can't have any children. Why not? Shehi zoina hamor b'Torah. Since she is physically unable to have children, interacting with her doesn't generate offspring, she's considered a zoina. It's interaction for the sake of interaction. That's not appropriate for the Kohen. In fact, she's considered chayav elavin. A Kohen may not involve himself with a Zaina. That's Shitas Rabbi Yehuda. It's a Chiddush, which the Chacham take issue with. The Chacham, I know, ain't Zaina, Ela Geyeres, Meshachreres, Vishaniva lo bilas nus. That's not called a Zaina. No, of course not. Zaina means she interacted with somebody inappropriately. She has prior experience with a guy. That's what the Geyeres is all about. Meshachreres, right? She was a Shifcha. She interacted with the Eved. Or Shenivel Abilas Nus, she was somebody who interacted with a mamzer, an erva. That's considered a zaina. Amali Rishka Lusila Rav Huna, he asked Rav Huna Shaila, my time, why do we say a Kohen should not marry an islandess unless he has an Isha Ubanim? That's the Tanakama's opening statement in the Mishnah. What's wrong? Because he has to have kids, right? My time is Shampiri Veriba, because of the mitzvah, right? Why is it specific to Kohanim? Apiri v'ribya Kohanim hudim efakti v'yisroelim efakti. Only Kohanim are instructed to be Mekayim Pru Revu, not Yisraelim. Why is this only an issue for a Kohen? Amar le mishum de kaboyle misna seifa. You're right. The first halacha in the Mishnah applies to every person. Don't marry an islandess unless you already have children, because you have to be mekayim piri of a ribya. Why mention a kohen? The Mishnah was just using matching terminology because of Rabbi Yehuda, who was about to come forth in the next line, who mentioned the kohen with the islandess, with that zoyna concern. So therefore the Tanna Kama made reference to kohen as well, but of course it applies to Yisrael too. Amar le mishum the kabayil misna seifa, because we wanted to come back with Rabbi Yehuda Eimer afal bishi eish leisha veish leivanim leisa islandess. Even if he has a wife and children, there's no issue of puravu. He shouldn't get involved with an islandess. This is a kohen. She is zoyna murabatera because she's a zoyna, and of course this only applies to a kohen. The azoyna, the restriction of zoyna, only applies to kohanim. Kohanim mudim mafakti. Only they're instructed on the Yisrael mafakti. Yisrael don't have that restriction. So once Rabbi Yehuda speaks about kohanim, Meshemachik Tani Kohen, Tanna Kama mentioned the kohen as well, but of course Tanna Kama's concern of Pru Ravu applies to kohanim, Levim, and Yisraelim equally. So that's a chiddush of Rabbi Yehuda. This type of woman is considered a zoyna. Amar Rav Huna, my time with Rabbi Yehuda, where is it coming from? The Chesiv, the pasuk says, Ach lo v'lo yizbu, his no v'lo yifreitzim. We learned that getting involved with an isha who can't bear children, kol bia she'ein ba pirza, an interaction with an isha in a non-offspring context, einoya ella bila znus, that's considered znus. Now Tosfos points out, of course it doesn't refer to a ketana, even though she's underage and she can't yet have children. It's not called. That's not considered, because remember, the term zoyna relates to the isha herself. I'm not speaking about the specific masa, the specific interaction. Does it generate children or not? That's not the issue. The issue is the isha. She is zoyna. An isha who, by definition, by virtue of her nature, can't bear children, an islandess. According to Rabbi Yehuda, that's called bia she'ein ba pirza. She's called a zoyna. But a ketana, says Tosfos, eventually she'll grow up, she'll have children. So although in her current state, interacting with her can't even potentially bring children, but in determining the status and title of this isha, you cannot say that she is any different from any ordinary isha. There's nothing wrong with her, there's nothing deficient with her. She can bear children, just give her some time. And therefore, says Tosfos, no concern. Tanya Blazer Omer, here comes a chiddush. Kohen lo yisas aktana. A kohen, even a kohen headed, should not marry a ketana. Why? What could be wrong with a ketana? We just explained the name of Tosfos. Even Rabbi Yehuda would be in full agreement that a ketana is not a zoyna. So what's wrong? Amalei Rav Chizda, Rav Chizda gave Rabbi an assignment. Puk, go out, ayin bo, investigate this matter, look into it, figure out what Rabbi Lezer is coming from. The L'orta, because tonight boiler Rav Huna Menach, Rav Huna is going to ask you the pshat. Go figure it out. So he heeded the call, he heeded the assignment, nafak, he went out, ayin bo, he looked into it. And he concluded as follows. The only way I can explain Rabbi Lezer is with the following formula, combination. Rabbi Lezer savlak Reb Meir. A. Rabbi Lezer holds like Reb Meir. B. V'savlak Rabbi Yehuda. He holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Explains the Gemara. Savlak Reb Meir. Rabbi Lezer follows Reb Meir, the chayish l'miyuta. He's always concerned about even a minority. Typically, we're not concerned about a miyut, only a roiv. Reb Meir is concerned even about miyut. Okay, that's number one. Number two, v'savlak Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Lezer follows Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, the Amar, Ailoinis zoyna havya. An isha who's an islandess is considered a zoyna unfit for marriage to a kohen. And therefore, a kohen should marry a ketana. What's the connection? Very partial, because as long as she's still a ketana and she hasn't yet presented the simanim of an adult, pubic hairs, etc., you'll never know. Perhaps she's an islandess. An islandess also doesn't present herself that way. And really, that's only something you can determine once she reaches adulthood. And then you see, okay, she's not presenting the simani gadlus, apparently she's an islandess. Therefore, says Rabbi Lezer, don't marry even a ketana, because she might, you never know. A small chance, 1 in 1,000. She might be an islandess. There's no way to tell them apart at this point, at this early stage in life. Because the absence of any pubic hair, etc., doesn't denote anything. It's just a ktana who's underage to begin with. So it's just a chayshin l'miuta, the chayshish for the minority, 1 in 1,000, which may be an islandess, and therefore don't marry a ktana because she might be an islandess. And what's wrong with an islandess? Oh, we're following Rabbi Yehuda. An islandess is a zayna. That's a pshat in Rabbi Lezer. It's the only way to explain it. Asks the Gemara, how can you say that? Rabbi Lezer follows Rabbi Meir and he follows Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Meir misavar law. He follows Rabbi Meir about Tanya. We have a brace. Katan uktana lecholtzin v'lemiyapen. Div Rabbi Meir. Go to Rabbi Meir. A katan, a ktana, who are yavam and yevama, can't do chalitza, nor yibum. Amalei Rabbi Meir. Chacham asked him, why? So granted, Yafa Marta, it makes sense what you say when you say she'ein chotzin, they can't do chalitza. You know why? Ish ksiva parsha. Pasuk says, chalitza pertains to an adult. Okay, so if he's a katan, no chalitza. Makshina initial ish, we connect the yivama to the yavam. Okay, that's a drasha, it's a limud later on. Katan and tana, no chalitza. What's wrong with yibam? Elamai taima imi yabmin. Amar lahem, Rabbi Meir responds, technically, sure, a katan, a ktana can do yibam. But the concern is as follows. Katan shouldn't do yibam shema yimatzei saris. Maybe he'll turn out to be a sris. It's like an islandess. A fellow who's physically unfit to bear children, in which case he's exempt from yibam. The whole point is to re-establish the family of the departed fellow. A saris who can't bear children doesn't do yibam. Now, typically you can tell. Once he reaches a certain age, you can tell him apart from the rest. He doesn't have the simanim of a gadol. But here it's a katan who's lacking simanim regardless. There's no way to identify him. So he might just be a saris. You never know. And again, Rabbi Meir is choishesh l'miut, right? You never know. Every child in the street might be a saris. Ktana, the same thing with her. Shema timotzi islandess. Although now you can't tell her apart, but maybe when she grows up, she'll be an islandess, who again is unfit for mitzvahs yibum, which point is to regenerate her departed husband's family. And if it turns out that I'm right, that he's a sris and or she's an islandess, they're doing an avera because they're relating with each other in a non-mitzvah situation. That's Rabbi Meir. Tanya. Listen to this price. We have Rabbi Lezer here. Katana Messiah Bemes, Venechalets, it's the Rabbi Lezer. Clearly, Rabbi Lezer doesn't hold a Rabbi Meir. He says, a Katana? Chalitza not, as we explained, because the Pasuk requires a Gadol, but Yibum, Gesundheit. There's nothing holding her back. We're not Chayshish that, maybe she's one of the million that happens to be an islandess. So we're not Chayshish Lamiyuta. So that's strike one. Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Meir are not compatible. Number two, you're lining Rabbi Lezer up with Rabbi Yehuda as well. We're concerned that she's an islandess, right? And if an islandess, you can't marry a kohen because it's a zayna. In the next brisa, we'll see clearly Rabbi Lezer does not hold of that definition of zayna. Rabbi Yehuda misavarla. Where does Rabbi Lezer hold like Rabbi Yehuda Batanya? We have a brisa which defines the word zayna in the Torah, which is asur for a kohen. Zayna kishma. Div Rabbi Lezer. What does zayna mean? Literally zayna. Rashi says, about 12 lines from the top. Kishma. Lashon toya. Deviator. Shetoya metachas bala. She strays from her husband. La'achirim. The Rabbi Lezer says Rashi in zayna aleishas ish. A chiddush. Zayna means you stray. You turn away. From whom? From the man you meant to be with, your husband. So according to Rabbi Lezer, there's only one scenario that fits the bill. There's only one type of isha who is described as a zayna. Only one that earns that title. That's an isha's ish who strays from her husband. And certainly not just a plain islandess who did nothing wrong. Clearly, Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yehuda incompatible. Okay, that's pretty much the kasha, but we're going to go through the whole brisa here with many shittis, many different definitions of zayna. According to Rabbi Lezer, again, it's isha's ish who was involved in inappropriate behavior. Rabbi Kiva Eimer, you know what zayna means? Zumuf keres, an isha who's hefker. She's mafkir herself, she makes herself available to everybody, so that's called a zaina. Rav Masya ben Charash Omer, afilu holach bala la'ashkoisa. Here's a chiddush. Even if she interacted inappropriately with her own husband, that's called a zaina. So what happened was she was a saita, and her husband went to the Beis Hamikdash to give her that water to drink. Ubala b'derech, on the way, he lived with her as married, which of course is asur. That interaction is asur zaina, makes her a zaina. Bida imer zaina zu ailanis. Oh, this is our sugya, because it's a type of isha who could only interact for the sake of interacting without bearing children. Chacham imer no. Ein Zoyna alagi yeres, meshachreres, v'sheniva labilas nus. An islandess is not called a Zoyna. It's only somebody who had an inappropriate experience, interacted with a guy, or an Erev, or a Mamzer. Here comes a Chiddush. Rabbi Lazar Ayman, this is without a Yud, a different Tana. He says, even Panoi, Habala Pnuya, even an unmarried man who interacts as married with an unmarried woman, so there's no arayis here. It's inappropriate, but it's not an Erev. Shaloi l'shem ishus. He interacts not for the sake of marriage. Asa zoyna, he turns her into a zoyna. It's a chiddush. Interesting. Taisus asks the kash. He says, why does he make reference to the man as a pani? What's that pertinent here? So he says, this is Taisus right off to the side here. Lav dafka nokat pani. The word pani is lav dafka. The kolshkin nasi. Certainly, of course, kolshkin, if he's married and he's acting inappropriately with an unmarried woman. He says, of course, in that case where he's straying from his wife, certainly that experience makes this Isha, with whom he interacts, a Zoyna. Interesting twists from Taisus. In any case, we have all those shittas, and pretty much clarified that Rabbi Eliezer does not work with Rabbi Yehuda's definition of Zoyna applied to an islandess. So bottom line is, why does Rabbi Eliezer tell us that a kohen should not marry a ketana? What's wrong with a ketana? I'll explain to you. We're not speaking about a regular kohen, a kohen gadol who's involving himself with a ketana. Right? What's wrong with that? Because la'imas kakanila. When is he really going to acquire her? The chigadol, when she grows up, meaning while she's a ketana, you can't marry a ketana. It's not a true marriage. And by the time she grows up and is ready for real marriage with him, the gadla bulahi. Right? Once she grows up, she's already past the experience. She's already past the basulim. She's no longer a basula because of all that time she spent with him. That's the problem. How am a Rav? I don't understand. How to understand what you mean here? Mikale leiv. Rashi says, "Kamoi mibli leiv, bali leiv, mibli leiv." This is like has been said without any thought. It doesn't make. It's just a way of saying it doesn't make sense. Why? The kitcha of war. How did this Tana ever get involved with the Kohen Gadol? Who brought her into the fold? Who introduced her to the Kohen Gadol? Is it the father? The kitcha of war. Well, guess what? A father has the ability to mekadesh his daughter minat Torah. Ma'ishato de kanila. At that moment, she is his minat Torah. He did kedushin with a besula perfectly fine. Read the kitchen nafsha. Oh, so we're speaking. There's no father around, and she just married herself off to the Kohen Gadol, which of course is not a kedushin minat Torah. So by the time she's ready for real kedushin, meaning when she turns an adult, she's no longer a besula, right? Well, that's an agreed upon halacha by all. Everybody should agree with that. It's not only Rabbi Eliezer chiddush. How Rabbi Eliezer? There's only Rabbi Eliezer speaking. Not the Rabbanon. Why would anybody disagree with this plain and simple, obvious halacha? Elam Rav, I'll explain to you the context of this halacha and why it's only Rabbi Eliezer, not the Rabbanon. Lo'elam b'kohen het. Let's go back to the original case. It's a regular kohen. Don't marry a ketana. You know why? Nothing wrong with her. But we're concerned because she's underage. She might get involved with other people, to spot the love, other people convince or coerce her, and she'll get involved with other people, and due to her immaturity, and that's problematic. Yisrael Nami, then if that's the case, Yisrael shouldn't either marry a Ktana. The same thing might happen. Answers the Gemara, there's a big difference. Bituya Ktana Oinasu. When a Ktana strays in this manner, it's considered like an Oinas, like against her will. She doesn't have the self-control, maturity to guard herself properly. It's not something which we sort of hold against her. She's not accountable for it. It's like an Oinas. It says, it happened against her will. V'oinas be Yisrael, Mishra Shari. We all know that Yisrael's wife, who had a forced experience with a strange man, that doesn't affect her status vis-a-vis her husband. So, worst case scenario, even if this happens, the Yisrael is mutter in her. But a Kohen, even an Oinas experience with an Eishes Kohen makes her usher on him. So don't get involved with a Ktana, who might not know how to be careful. So that's one pshat Rebbe Lezer. Kohen Gadol, don't marry a Ktana. Sorry, a Kohen Hedi, don't marry a Ktana. We're concerned about deviation. Rav Papa Amar, big Kohen Gadol. Let's go back to the other pshat. We're speaking about a Kohen Gadol who may not marry a Ktana. He's only meant to marry a Na'ara from 12 to 12 and a half. Vayitanu, following the following shita, the Sanya B'sula, when the pasuk says a Kohen Gadol marries a B'sula Yachal Ktana, perhaps even a Ktana who is a B'sula Tamlema, it says Isha. Right? It says B'sula Ma'ama Vikach Isha. She needs to be Yeged Doila. Isha, if that's the case, you need an Isha Yachal Begeres perhaps way past, maybe 12 and a half and up. Tamlema B'sula and all B'sula. So we're very limited. Okay, how does this work? Yotza Mikhlal Katnus. She needs to be beyond the age of Katnus, meaning from 12 and up, Ulachlal Bagrus Leibasa, but still before Bagrus, between 12 and 12 and a half. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Amar, Hi Tanu, I found another Tana, who goes along the same lines as Sanya B'sula, who is meant to be for a Kohen Gadol, Ein B'sula Elo Nara, it's only a Nara, from 12 to 12 and a half, V'cheinu Omer, as the pasuk says by Rivka, V'hanara Toivas Mara Moed B'sula. So we see that Nara and B'sula are synonymous. Interesting, Tais does a kasha. He brings from the Seder Oilam that she was only 3 years old. And here the Gemara is referring to her as a 12-year-old. So he says, V'tzarech Leima, the last line of Tais, V'tzarech Leima, the Midrashis Chalukim Ze'al there are various Midrashim with different opinions. Al Kapanim, Al Gemara certainly refers to Rivka as being 12 years old. We had one more sheet on the Brayser. Rabbi Lezer Omer, Panoi Habala Pnuya, Shaloi L'Shem Ishus, Aso Zoyna. Perhaps this is part of the same Brayser here. In any case, or it's just referring back to the previous Brayser, we had the sheet of Rabbi Lezer. A Panoi and a Pnuya interact. She's not an Eshes. There's no Arayas. But an inappropriate physical interaction between a Yisrael and a Bas Yisrael, Aso Zoyna, makes her a Zoyna. Omar Amram, no, Ein Ochkar B'lezer, we don't follow the Shita, we follow the Shita's Chachamim, only if it's by way of an Arayas or a Goy, etc. Continues the Mishnah, Lo Yibatel Adam Mipirya V'Ribya. One should not abstain from involvement in Pirya V'Ribya and generating offspring, Elam Kain, unless he already did so. Yesh Lo Banam, he already has his children. B'Shama Imrim, what is considered a fulfillment of the mitzvah? Shnei Zacharim, 2 boys. Ube'esil Imrim Zachar Nekeva, a son and daughter, Shnamar Zachar Nekeva Baram. We see that the nucleus of humanity was Zachar Nekeva. Likewise, when Hashem instructs us to generate another link in the continuation of humanity, it needs to be a Zachar Nekeva. And the Mishnah says that once he has his children, there is no longer a need to engage in Pirya V'Ribya in generating children. But it sounds like he still should be married. He can marry somebody who's unfit to have children, but marriage is a separate concern. Marriage is an institution on its own, separate from the childbearing aspect of it. Even if he has children, he puts the rest Pirya V'Ribya, but he's still married. He should still be married. That's a Raya, Mesayele, the Rav Nachman, Shmuel, who says likewise, the Amar Afal Pisha Ish Le Adam Kama Banim, even if a person has many children, Asr Lamed B'Lei Isha, he should still be married. Shnamar Loi Toiv, Hayos Adam Levadai. It's not toiv for a person to live on his own. You know, Chaim Friedlander Zatzal, he had a series of shiurim that he used to give to Chasanim. They put it out in a beautiful pamphlet, very, very short and to the point, concise, brief, but really powerful. And he brings down, if it's his own word or based on the Maral, he says, what does it mean, Loi Toiv Hayos Adam Levadai? What is toiv? He says the Ramchal, Rosh Chaim Latzato explains, toiv means good. What is good? Derech ha-toiv lahetiv. One who is really good wants to give over goodness to others. He wants to share his goodness. That's why Hashem created the world to begin with. Hashem is the epitome of toiv. He wants to share that goodness with us. Miteva, miderech ha-toiv lahetiv. We say it on Rosh Hashanah. Chol Aminim, right? He's a toiv u'meitiv. Ha-toiv u'meitiv l'roim la-toivim. He's meitiv because he is toiv, and therefore he doesn't discriminate between roim and toivim, because it's just giving for the sake of giving. In any case, he says that's a pshat. A person on his own can't really epitomize toiv. It doesn't manifest, it doesn't express itself if he's just on his own. Toiv needs a recipient for his goodness, for his atava, for his graciousness. Loi toiv hayos adam levadai. If you want to really be toiv and share that goodness, which is the epitome, which is the expression of a toiv, I'll create a wife for him, with whom he can share his toiv, with whom he can spread his toiv and experience it properly. So that's the point here. Even though he's already Mekayim, Privy Verubia, marriage is a separate thing. Living with somebody else and developing your good midas. There's another version of this Gemara. Mishnah says, well, lo yivatel adam, right? It shouldn't be bata from pruv unless he has children. Ha yesh lebanim. Apparently, if he has children, batal pirivir or batal namim ish, and he doesn't need a wife either. That's the assumption. And how to learn the Mishnah? Neima tiyavet yufta. Perhaps it's going to be a stira. The Rav Nachman Shmuel says that person should always be married. Loi says the Gemara. Let's redo the pshat in the Mishnah. Ein lebanim. If he has no children, in that case, he has to look after two things. A wife that can bear him children. Noise isha, bas bana, marrying isha who has the ability to bear children. So he has his wife and he has his children. However, yesh le'banim, he already has children. So children is no longer a concern, but marriage is. Noise isha, bas bana, he can marry an isha who's not able to have children, such as an idleness, etc. Nafkamina. A big nafkamina here is limkar sefer Torah b'shvil banim. This halacha can have a very, very grave halachic ramification. He has a sefer Torah. Now he has a choice. He has a choice. He can marry an isha who's not of childbearing ability. In that case, he can get around without selling the sefer Torah. She has enough. She's bringing in enough into the marriage. He doesn't have to sell a sefer Torah to support her. On the other hand, he has an isha who has the ability to bear children. But for her, he has to sell a sefer Torah. Otherwise it wouldn't work. So what does he do? Well, it depends. If he already has children, in that case, there's no justification for selling that sefer Torah to get the isha who's going to bear him children. Let her marry the other isha. As she says, an akara is a kena. However, if he needs children as well, then he can sell sefer Torah in order to require the isha who can help him with the mitzvah of pruruvu. Okay, so what do we learn today? We started Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, the caver of the Akum. Although it's metame b'mag b'masa but not b'oil, atem kruyim adam, ve'eina ivdik chavim kruyim adam. Okay, in God, although he's not allowed to marry an almana, let's say he was mekadesh the almana, and then he became a kohen gadol, like in the story of Yeshua ben Gamla, he can carry on. This doesn't work by Yibum. So Yibum is asur by the kohen gadol, whether she was previously married to his brother, in which case there's a lois hasei, she's an almana, and also avera of mitzvah hasei, she's no longer besula. That certainly doesn't work. What about if she was only engaged mina irisin, in which case she's an almana, but she's not lacking in the besulam? In that case, it's asur because the first bia might lead to the second one. which is already past her Basula state. We had all the definitions of the word Zoina, Meishes Ish, etc., etc. We had Eilinus, that was Rabbi Yehuda's version. We have Rabbi Lezer who says Pani and Pnuya, but the Chachamim hold Dafka and Isha was involved with a Goy, an Eved, a Mamzer, an Arayas, etc. Some Shittas hold that a Kohen Gadol may only marry a Nara. She's an adult, but not yet a Begeris. We included with the Sugya of marriage for the sake of Pru Uravu, which according to Beis Shammai is Shtei Zacharim, according to Beis Hillel Zachar and Akeva, or as the Gemara concludes, irrelevant, irrespective of Pru Uravu. The halacha is that a person should always be oimed with an Isha. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.